Howdy folks, Hellcrex here, and welcome to Thoughts from the Inner Sphere, episode 60. And today, we're going to be talking about a mech that you see a lot of on the battlefield. And that is the Blackjack. The BJ-1 Blackjack. The 45-ton mech. It's pretty decent. It finds its way into a lot of our games. And primary job is that long-range sniper / golden BB thrower / anti-aircraft gun / whatever you want to do with it, because it has some good uses. Overall, it's not a bad little mech. Now, the Blackjack is 45 tons, as I said. It is a 4.64, so it has jump jets. It's not the fastest mech out there. It more or less, I look at it as a follow-on mech. You're going to be attaching it to a lot of your slow-moving mediums or light mechs that might be slow. A lot of times it gets tossed in with our heavies as kind of a fire support mech. And with those jump jets, it's able to displace a little bit. It makes it useful in a city fight. Now, weapons, which it has 136 points of armor, which is, I think, like 1 ton short of maximum, which isn't too bad. And the reason you get all that stuff on there is because, it's a 4.64, it's slow. Now, for the weapons, it has the 2 AC2s in the right and left arm, which a lot of people look at as the golden BB tosser. 1 ton of ammo, 45, so if you run out of ammo with this thing, you've been shooting a long time. And then it carries 4 medium lasers, 1 in each arm and 1 in each torso, right and left torso. Then in the right leg and left leg, it carries those jump jets, so 2 in each. Now, in a lot of the games that we have, this mech, like I said, is a follow-on mech. It has a tendency to park itself a lot of times on a hillside someplace overlooking the battlefield with some decent fields of fire, and it's able to actually, is it 25 out there? Yeah, it can get out there and let somebody know what's going on. And with something like that, obviously, well, it's 24-inch range, but as you look at it, it's able to reach out and even shoot farther than your LRM launchers. Be it it's only 2 points of damage, but a lot of times if you get those box cars or those snake eyes, that's the big thing you always seem to be looking for, is that, hey, I just hit you twice, alright, roll, okay, one is like a center torso, the other one is, center torso, chance of critical. And that is the whole thing. This mech is wrapped around, is trying to get those lucky shots to the head or the torso that have a good chance of critical. Now, if someone's got their armor ripped off, well, that's a different story. And then you're punching little 2-point blocks in there and getting chances that way. But someone's already done all the hard work for you by that time. It's usually a heavy mech or heck, with the battle value on this thing, it's not that bad. Let's see, let me check here real quick. Yeah, it's under 1,000. That's what I thought. And it can find its way into a lot of games because of that. Now, this thing is no slouch. Most people think, with the 2 AC2s, you get in close to this thing, okay, you got the minimum ranges with that. You're going to be facing some problems. But no, it's got those 4 medium lasers. And let me tell you, I'm a big fan of the medium lasers. And 4 medium lasers let somebody know that, hey, I'm here. Because that can dish out 20 points of damage. Yeah, it could be spread out over. It's unlike an AC-20, which goes in one spot. But with 4 medium lasers kind of spread around, if you're a light mech, let's say a Locust or a Stinger or something, and you decide you want to come up and play tag with this guy, he may turn around and let you know that, hey, I'm not afraid of you, and give you some love, and next thing you know, your armor's gone and you're hightailing it for the woods. Literally. the woods, someplace to go hide. Now, like I said, a lot of times I'll sit back with this thing, and if you get any air assets like a helicopter or anything, let me tell you, 2 shots into the rotor blades on a helicopter, and they're going, well, okay, let's go find someplace else to hide because our blade is gone. And typically an individual is going to be looking one place or another. That's what I like about this thing, is that it's kind of a versatile little guy. Now, it's not a anti-scout mech by any means. It just doesn't have the speed for it. But in those medium and heavy games where you got a lot of slow movers trudging along, this guy does a lot of good work. Just plain and simple. And as the game goes on, and when you got your heavies and those heavier ranged, slower, like your Centurions and stuff like that, where they're doing a lot of heavy work and they're tearing armor off people, then you can flip this thing around and go, okay, I'm going to move up and start engaging with those medium lasers while I'm plinking away with those 2 little golden plinker guns. But when you get in close with this thing, it starts, with its armor that it has on it, it can go toe-to-toe with a lot of medium and heavy mechs for a turn or two without having to worry about things. And then it's doing work too. So it's kind of like a mid to late game mech that comes to the fore. Is when somebody's starting to lose their armor, this thing can move up and just wreck face also. And then, let's just say, you get in real close with this thing, you can kick with it. Now, you're not going to be punching with this thing by any means, because obviously with no hand actuators on this thing, and 2 of your medium lasers are sitting in the arms, obviously you're going to kick, plain and simple. Now, some people don't like kicking because they have bad luck with that. I've never really had any mechs fail. I can't remember the last time I had a mech fail a kick. Mostly because I'm looking at who I'm going to kick. Now, it's usually somebody that's moving pretty slow, not a lot of modifiers, and I'm going to go in there and do my best I can. And also, you could jump with this thing and get behind somebody and put 4 medium lasers in the rear arc, but yeah, with this thing has 11 heat sinks, you're going to be up on the heat scale. So obviously, if you fire all 4, that's 12. You jump 4, possibly it's going to be 3 or 4 heat. With that, you're looking at 15, 16 heat, and you're going to be up on 5. Okay, so you're really going to be slow the next turn. So you're going to have to really think twice about if that's what I want to do, or can I just kind of try to run and get into a flank and then eventually get into the rear. Alright, you got to think about that too. And if you do run and then you're going to be up at least 14, so that's 14, yeah, so you're going to be up on 3 on the heat scale. You can do that for a turn. Alright, the next turn you're going to have to worry about, okay, I'm going to be able to fire 3 so I can keep myself kind of cool. You may like to cook your mech. I do not. That's not my cup of tea. So that's up to you. That's what you want to do. But my advice is, don't cook your mech. I've always been saying this, don't cook your mech. Now, there is a couple variants. Let's see here. The Lyle Commanders are just short. They're Blackjacks and the rest with no modifications attempted, much less assignment 2. Alright, they don't like it. House Davian onto the hand has been so impressed with their Blackjack showing that he had began experimenting with new version. One of the Davian engineers' first discovery that the Blackjack instability myth, the one Davian variant replaces the dual autocannons with heavy lasers, and I think that's the D version for like Davian, and also adds a number of heat sinks. If I remember right, it has 17 heat sinks, 2 large lasers in replace of the 2 ACs, and necessary removal of 2 medium lasers, also some armor. So I think they remove 1 ton of armor and 2 medium lasers to make this happen. I'm never a big fan of taking your armor off, and if I remember right, there's some parts of this mech I do like and some of it I don't. Alright, so you got a mech that has 17 heat sinks, carries around 2 large lasers, 2 medium lasers. Alright, so it can handle firing 2 large lasers and some heat coming off of your movement modifier. So if you run, you're going to go up 1. Okay, that's not a big deal. If you fire the jump jets, you're going to go up to 20, minus your 17s, you go up 3. That's okay. You can do that. The only thing I don't like about it is you're taking off armor off a mech that already has a lot of good armor. And if I remember correctly, all the weapons are in the arms. I'm not a fan of having every single one of my weapons in the arms, because typically, let's just look at the armor structure. Right torso. Arm is 12 armor, so you have a total of 19. So if you got hit with 2 PPCs that say 1 arm, next thing you know, you're down to a large laser and a medium laser because you put all your eggs in one basket. I'm the type of person, I would have removed the 2 medium lasers out of the arms and left 1 in each torso. So I would have 1 in right torso, left torso, and then 1 in the large lasers in each arm. So that would be the way I would build it, if I remember correctly, is how they did it. And I've used that mech before, but I'm not the type of person I like to put all my weapons in my arms. And later, when we get into the clans, they have a tendency to put everything in their arms. And there's been times when I watched a heavy mech or assault mech or any of the clans, and everything just funneled right into the arms. And next thing you know, they're just like running around like a zombie mech because they got nothing in their torsos. That can be a problem. So, which we're not too far off. Hopefully by the turn of the year, we'll be into the clans. Hit that 30-50 buck. Alright, so that's the way I would deal with things. Maybe even drop one of those heat sinks, put it at 16, keep the armor on there, so that would make it look a lot better, handle a little bit more firepower in the long run. Just think about that. Because if you're good at your heat management, you can live without 1 heat sink. Plain and simple. You just don't have to. It's like, okay, I can fire the 2 large lasers, and then the next turn I could fire a large laser or a couple medium lasers. Because if it's just a large laser, you're within 15. So you're within that area possibly of firing medium lasers. Alright? And you might get more bang for your buck if you're firing your 2 medium lasers to cool off instead of the 1 large. Alright? Think about that. Now, any other things I can think of at the moment, I'm not sure, but some of the games, like I said, I've had games where I've shot a blackjack clear across the table and hit a mech and got that lucky shot, or it was one time, keep hitting somebody in the head, just like, wow, it's unbelievable, and knocking a pilot out. It's like taking 2 hits from it. This mech, all he took was like 6 points of damage at long range, and 2 of them went into the head, and it knocks the pilot out, and the mech falls over. There's things like that can happen. There's so many different ways or stories that the blackjack has succeeded in causing havoc on the battlefield to the detriment of a lot of players. So, something to think about when you take this little guy out. It's a good mech to play with, alright? Take it out, use it, and possibly, if you have any type of variants that you think you might like to do with this thing, like removing an AC2 in favor of something else, let me know and put it down below. Subscribe, like, the works, and we'll talk with you in the next one.